Former captain Mahela Jayawardene was the star for Sri Lanka as they won by 210 runs. Guy McCree reports.
After winning the toss, Sri Lanka's batsmen seemed keen to make an early statement on home soil. Mahela Jayawardene looked in beautiful touch on what was a slow pitch and outfield in Habantota. The former captain able to adjust his normal game and put the Canadian attack to the sword. Jayawardene put on 179 for the third wicket with current skipper Kumar Sangakkara. He made 92, just short of what would have been his maiden World Cup century. Jayawardene wasn't to be denied his ton though, his 81-ball century the fastest ever by a Sri Lankan in the World Cup, as Sri Lanka made 332 for 7. In reply, Canada lost wickets steadily as Sri Lanka's varied attack, even without the injured Lasith Malinga, proved too strong. Thisara Pereira made a memorable World Cup debut with a wicket off his first ball. He ended up with 3 wickets, as did his new ball partner Nuwan Kulasekara. Canada eventually subsided to 122 all out, Sri Lanka the winners by 210 runs. The co-hosts' World Cup bid off to a terrific start. Guy McCree, Al Jazeera.
In Sunday's early game, 2003 World Cup semi-finalists Kenya were thrashed by New Zealand. After winning the toss and opting to bat, the Kenyans were bowled out for just 69 runs, the 5th lowest score in World Cup history. Hamish Bennett starred for the winners with the ball taking 4 wickets for just 16 runs. In reply, the Black Caps made short work of the target, with the openers knocking off the runs without loss in just 8 overs. This is New Zealand's first 10-wicket World Cup win. Defending champions Australia are preparing for their group opener against Zimbabwe on Monday. Australia have not lost a one-day international against Zimbabwe since that famous first meeting in the 1983 World Cup, when a team of part-timers shocked Australia with a 13-run victory. That's all in the past, as Australia will be looking for their 3rd straight World Cup victory. Now to football, and Lazio have closed the gap on 3rd place Napoli to 1 point in Italy's Serie A. Lazio won 1-0 against bottom club Bari. Anderson Hernandez with a superb volley after just 6 minutes. 3rd place Napoli are in action in the late game. Meanwhile, Juventus got off to the worst possible start in their match against Lecce. Captain and goalkeeper Gianluigi Buffon was sent off for handling the ball outside of the penalty area. The home side made use of the extra man by going ahead after 30 minutes. Jamal Mesbah slipping the ball under the replacement keeper. Lecce made it 2-0 when Andrea Bertolacci scored from close range, and despite having a man sent off as well, they held on for the win. There are 7 other matches being played in the Italian league. League leaders AC Milan sealed the points away at Chievo. Alexander Pato with the late goal there to make it 2-1. Genoa have staged an amazing fight back against visitors Roma. They were 3-0 down after 50 minutes, but have come back to win 4-3. In Spain, 4th place Villarreal hosted bottom of the table Malaga. This goal actually went in, scored by Marco Ruben in the first half. And it looked as though that would be the only goal of the game. But unfortunately for Villarreal, Seba scored a late equalizer, and that match finished 1-1. Here's a look at the rest of the other matches. 14th place Osasuna thumped Espanyol 4-0. Sevilla is hosting Hercules, and the score there is 1-0 to Sevilla. The late game sees Barcelona take on Athletic Bilbao, looking to put the gap between rivals Real back to 5 points. Formula One boss Bernie Ecclestone has reportedly said he's leaving the decision as to whether the season opening race in Bahrain goes ahead to the country's crown prince. The ongoing protests in the kingdom have already forced the cancellation of the scheduled test events at the circuit in the capital, Manama. Crown Prince and heir apparent Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa is also the deputy head of the armed forces. A decision is due on Tuesday as to whether the 13th of March race will go ahead or not. Now, I know we want to talk about Mourinho.
Oh, shush. 122 wins, 147 without being beaten. Bye-bye.
Hello, welcome to another look at the international forecast. We're still feeling the effects of Tropical Cyclone Carlos across the northern parts of Australia. Here it is, still swirling away. We are going to see some very heavy rain for northwestern areas of Australia over the next couple of days. I should say more heavy rain, maybe as much as 500 millimetres of rainfall just along that northwest coast. You can see how it's, if anything, reorganising itself as it just sinks its way a little further southwards and westwards over the next day or two. So expect to see further flooding across those northern parts of Western Australia. Some rather sharp showers too into the interior, pushing towards Alice Springs, back up towards the Gulf of Carpentaria. Rain too, that's making its way out of New South Wales, pushing into southern parts of Queensland. Could cause further problems here just towards the Gold Coast, then Brisbane at around 27 Celsius. Could see some rather sharp showers too, making their way across New Zealand. Some heavy rain, certainly a possibility into the South Island as we go through Monday. Look further north. Here we have another tropical cyclone. This one's called Atu, just between New Caledonia and Fiji, and that's about where it'll stay. It'll sink its way a little further southwards as we go on through Tuesday. So I think at least the worst of the weather will stay offshore. For Southeast Asia, well, it's the usual crop of heavy showers to come. The wettest weather still there across much of Borneo.
The times change. The instruments evolve. The battlegrounds shift.
This is America! Our country!
But the international struggle continues.
He was murdered!
Uncompromising, hard-hitting investigations.
I can't get no justice from no one in Jamaica.
People and power, at this time on Al Jazeera.
East Timor's government has declared it's time for foreign forces to leave the country. But with a frail infrastructure, is this nation prepared to face a future without international support? 101 East, at this time on Al Jazeera.
Looking for loyalty in Libya. Gaddafi greets his supporters as his security forces shoot more protesters. Libya's second city, Benghazi, is in chaos, with government buildings set on fire, hospitals overwhelmed, and troops now forced to retreat. Hello, I'm Stephen Cole. You're watching Al Jazeera live from London. Also coming up, anti-government protesters clash with President Saleh supporters in Yemen's 9th day of demonstrations. People in Bahrain deliver a list of demands as they settle in for another night at the Pearl Roundabout. Plus, Afghanistan's innocent victims. NATO is accused of killing 64 civilians in air and ground strikes. Hello, I'm Stephen Cole in London. We open